The first reboot was cancelled, but now there are rumors that Paramount is going to create a reboot, and we still assume that it is with the idea of making something aimed for a more mature audience as well, just like the previous reboot. This means that the new universe must have many changes, since it is not the same to make a series for a child audience and a series for adults. For a long time, we have talked about the suits of the Rangers, but the reality is that we have not yet talked about the style that the new series may have in general. During these 30 years, Power Rangers has had a pretty basic style due to the fact that it has always been a show aimed at a children's audience, and usually almost every season includes high tech. The entire style of this technology is clean, futuristic, and simple so that it is easy to understand. Obviously, this is something that is done so that kids can understand the entire concept of the show. But since the new series is likely to be aimed at young adults, then things can get more complicated. This is where the new style of the series comes in, and with this, we are not giving official information, but it is an idea that we assume, since it is what they should possibly do to achieve something better. If in the reboot they only change the story and the drama, then it is not going to look like a reboot. In order to achieve a real change, then they have to change the story and drama, but also the entire style of the series. In 2023 we were able to see the comics that Amy, the actress who plays Kimberly the Pink Ranger from Mighty Morphin, published based on a story in the future. The style we saw from this comic is that Jason is a lone hero, and we can see everything different about his suit. This suit has a different color cape. The suit has spots on it, and on his hands, he has a bandage. It's a style like he's been through a lot of battles, something a little bit darker, and more dramatic at the same time. Because of this, there are many designers who have been responsible for creating images on a style similar to this, and we can say that it looks spectacular. In this area we must highlight the artist Robbie Busby, who has created spectacular images with different styles. In this case it is no longer about simply creating different costumes, but here we can see a complete change of style. This entire style looks like a combination of Power Rangers and Star Wars, something between technology and destruction. If we compare the Star Wars characters with these photos that have this different style, we can realize that they have a very similar style. However, if we compare the Star Wars characters with the Power Rangers that we have known all our lives, we can see the big difference in style. This is how you can realize what I mean when I say that not only should they change the costumes in the new series, but they should also change the entire style. That of changing the style also includes the locations, the lifestyle, the transportation, the people around, the clothing of the general public, and many other things. If I were writing the story, I would set the Rangers in a somewhat apocalyptic time, where technology is advanced, but the world has suffered greatly. Something that all of us adult fans have criticized for years is that the Megazords always destroy part of the city, but then we don't see any destruction, and no one has died because of those giant battles. That is something quite illogical, and although we all take it as something funny, in a series created for adults this can't happen. If two giants start fighting, then that must have consequences, and those consequences must be noticed little by little. When we watch movies like Transformers, where there are giant robots fighting in the city, we can see that everything is destroyed, and those battles have catastrophic consequences. The Power Rangers can't be dealing blows with a giant robot all over the city without consequences, and at the end of the day everyone is happy because they destroyed the monster in a giant explosion that apparently didn't kill anyone. Sorry if this seems like a strong criticism of Power Rangers, but these are the things that need to change in the reboot if they want to turn everything into an adult franchise. All those battles without consequences work for a child audience because when we were 6 years old and watching Power Rangers, we didn't realize that those two giants were destroying an entire city, we only cared about the Power Rangers winning the fight. In the reboot, we adults are going to realize that all those giant battles are going to have consequences, and this should be noticed. If they start the story before the Power Rangers get their powers, then we can accept that the city still doesn't have any damage, but if they start the story after the Power Rangers have been fighting for quite some time, then there's no way they're going to show me a city in perfect condition. It's at that point that style is going to be the most important thing, since in these darker stories we should see powerful villains who have to have some victories to make the drama look more real. Only in children's stories the heroes always win. If they want to give us stories for adults, then the villains must also win, and when the villains win, the consequences of their actions are noticed. This is why if the story starts after the Rangers have the power, then they should present us with a devastated city, abandoned places, a future where life is different, and the Rangers have tried to save people, but sometimes they have not succeeded. So, it should be a real story for adults and a real story of superheroes. A great example of this is the Marvel story in Civil War, and that is where the heroes are debating because of all the consequences of their battles. There we can see the cities that have suffered due to the multiple battles, and here we are only talking about normal-sized people. Imagine all the disaster that a giant robot can cause. All these consequences should change the entire style of the series, since the typical Power Rangers costumes would not match very well with a post-apocalyptic world. Another thing to mention is that we don't know if they are going to change the style of the Rangers' powers, since for now, we have only seen that there is always something that connects them to power, and this gives the Rangers suits that give them strength, speed, and weapons. With the new style, some things could change, and, in this channel, we have already mentioned that it would be good if they would give the Rangers some different powers. A good change would be for the Rangers to be able to control elements of nature, or maybe have some powers that could make the Rangers stand out, since all Rangers always have more or less the same power. Imagine a team where one Ranger gets super strength, another gets super speed, another can control things with the mind, another is super intelligent, and in this way they would all be very different. This could help each Ranger stand out, and fans could choose their favorite not only by the color or personality of the character, but also by their power. This would change the whole style of the series, as we would have to see incredible special effects, and the tone of the series would change completely. Write in the comments the style you would like to see in the reboot, like this video and subscribe for a new Power Rangers style.